So welcome back to another video, and where this time we have Glaive Keo breaking down the real problem with Honkai Star's newest character. Well, on my take, our new characters and Honkai Star is gonna be crack as hell. If it doesn't crack, it's not gonna sell. So let's see what Glaive Keo, the guy who is could debatably the #1 Kurobot, the #1 Withering Wave content creator inside the space right now. So let's see what do he have to critique on Honkai Star. Take it away.
Follows every live service game. It is the slow, steady process where new things are released that make the old things feel obsolete. But what if a new character could be a core part of that power creep while simultaneously making an older character more valuable? Can a single unit escalate the problem and complicate it at the same time? That is the difficult question that the new 5-star physical nihility character, Hysilens, forces us to ask. On the surface, she seems to defy the typical power creep model. She was designed.
Well, Hysilens look kind of dope though, and those animations are so good. I tried to do a couple pulls, but I don't think I have a, because it have a power group issue. Everybody need to peel the pool on the new characters, and as a free play player or casual player, you cannot keep up unless you spend weeklies or battle pass, or maybe win the 50-50.
Designed to work directly with an older character, Kafka, making her an essential part of a new top-tier team. But at the same time, the power of this team is so immense that it raises the damage ceiling for the entire game, contributing to the very cycle that makes older investments feel worthless. So today, we're going to use Hysilens as a lens. Hysilens as a lens. I thought it was clever. We're going to use Hysilens as a lens to examine the evolution of power creep in Honkai Star Rail. We will break down how one character can represent both a situation to individual character obsolescence and a new, more demanding form of team-based power creep. But to properly judge her impact, we first have to remember the exact problem she was designed to fix. But before we get into it, let's talk about
Sponsorship. Anyways, Glaive Keo getting a sponsorship. Okay, let me break down what he about to say. Hysilens basically made to make Dot great again. That's the only thing that Hysilens good. So Dot is like trash since Black Swarm. Dot was trash since Black Swarm or since Akron. When Akron first released, you cannot play Dot. Dot are trash since then. And there's no good heroes, and the premium team with Dot as a Dot player are Kafka, Black Swarm, Ruan Mei, and Hsr. Those because Ruan Mei and Hsr buff attack, and Dot character needs attack. But as you can see on my Honkai Star MOC clears, without using Hysilens or didn't have her, I cannot clear the memory of chaos that specifically made for Dot. I cannot clear on the 5 cycle, and that's bad. You know why? Because I didn't have Hysilens, and Hysilens is the death. The death be like, oh, you want to play Dot characters? You have to pull for Hysilens. If you didn't pull for Hysilens, you cannot play Dot team at all. And I think that's kind of bad because like you invest so much on your Black Swarm, your Kafka, and right now it's just like you need this to make your 2 highly investment in the past to make them like playable. I think the best way to buff it is either buffing Dot itself without creating a character to solve Dot characters. You know what I mean? So I could see like increased Dot damage or like decrease enemy boss HP, because right now Honkai Star have HP inflation and everybody's like increasing, like all new characters like right now is like increasing the power creep, like the damage scaling. So everybody's like the new characters like keep going up, so the boss have to like follow the trend, or else like the new character just like one cycle everything, and people say that, and new player be like, well, the game is too easy. The game is so easy, and I don't know why that's a problem. So the dev just like keep following to like keep up the trend and make people pull on the new character. And that was like still bottom. It doesn't have a growth at all. You know what I mean? So like while everybody's going up, Dot is still the same. Dot is like still babies right here without any buff scaling at all or any buff at all, even using the premium team. So Hysilens is the solution to the problem. Let's see.
Yes, let's get back into the video. In Honkai Star Rail, the damage over time archetype or DOT has always had a unique identity. Its core idea is applying status effects that slowly chip away at the enemy's health. In most games, this is a slow path to victory. Keyword on slow. But very early on, HSR introduced a solution. The character Kafka. Kafka's entire kit is built to detonate dots, forcing
I love Kafka.
to deal their damage immediately. This single mechanic solved the archetype's traditional weakness of being too slow for endgame. So the problem was never that Dot was fundamentally flawed. With Kafka at the helm, it was perfectly functional. The real issue was neglect. For a long time, while other playstyles get a steady stream of new and powerful characters, the Dot archetype was left on the back burner. Like when you start getting comfortable with someone and then you get ghosted. Players had the engine in
Dot was left behind since Black Swarm. Just to, you guys remember that? That was like left behind. And that was like literally broken like before then. I think like people start using Dot all the time until Akron came in. That you cannot use Dot characters anymore.
Kafka, but the developers provided no new parts to build a more powerful machine. This stagnation was the true source of community frustration. This feeling went beyond quiet disappointment. It became a running joke born from a real sense of being overlooked. You see comments everywhere saying things like, finally, after 100 decades, another Dot character, which in gacha
Finally.
time, feels about right. It is a meme, but it perfectly captures the long wait for any kind of innovation. And then Hoyoverse announced Hysilens. Her presentation was different. She was framed as the answer to the specific problem of stagnation. The community immediately saw her as a potential savior for what they call Dot Society, pinning all their hopes on her release to make the archetype feel fresh and relevant again. The community's hope was clear, but to understand if she delivered and at what cost, we need to look past the hype and break down her actual design. And when you look at her kit, you start to see a very clear philosophy at play, a masterclass in what I would call interdependency. First,
Okay. Just a reminder, I didn't look up Hysilens guide because I didn't plan on putting him. So Glaive Q is gonna tell us what is Hysilens, why is Hysilens is game broken, and why you need Hysilens to make Dot great again. Let's see.
you have her talent. This is her main way of applying those damage over time effects we talked about earlier. Whenever any ally attacks, Hysilens has a chance to slap one of 4 different dots onto the enemy. On paper, the damage from these dots, well, is not very good. The multipliers, that's the numbers that decide how much damage an ability does, are deceptively low. It's like lying about your height, but on the other side, I guess. This is a deliberate choice, by the way. The talent's primary function isn't dealing damage itself, but acting as a dot primer. It just
You know why people like dot characters? Because it's so satisfying just looking at this. Look at these numbers like appear at this exact same time. And that's why I love Kafka.
Talent's primary function isn't dealing damage itself,
Look
but
at that.
acting as a
Oh.
dot primer. It just quickly and reliably
Satisfying.
paints the battlefield with lots of different status effects to set the stage for the main event. Her skill is much more straightforward, yet critically important. She hits all the enemies and applies a vulnerability debuff. All that means is that for 3 turns, every enemy takes 20% more damage from
Wait, that's crazy. Using a skill, the enemy take 20% more damage on dots? You doesn't have when you have Ruan Mei. Ruan Mei just like buff like what is it? Buff attack and has and what just buff attack.
all sources. From her, from her teammates, from everything. From the hate comments below this video. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, what in the back door is this?
It is one of the best and most universal buffs in the game, and she provides it effortlessly for the entire team. Now we get to the main event, the payoff, the ultimate. When she uses it, she creates a special zone on the field. While that zone is active, every single time an enemy takes a tick of dot damage, Hysilens immediately follows up with a direct hit of her own. Visually, it looks like a school of fish attacking the enemy. This follow-up attack can trigger up to a maximum of 8 times per turn. That is a staggering amount of extra damage. But here is where the design gets clever. Remember her talent, the one that applies all her dots? By itself, it can only apply 4 unique types. Her kit is intentionally asking a question. If the damage cap is 8 triggers, but she can only provide the fuel for 4 of them, where do the other 4 come from? That question has a very specific predetermined answer. It comes from her teammates. And this is where we see the shift from just good synergy to what we can call a symbiotic imperative. This brings us to Kafka. God damn it. Her role in this team isn't simply...
I'm gonna say it. I think Kafka is my favorite characters in Honkai Star. There's no one beating Kafka yet. Well, second one is Fly. I think the third one. Who's the one I like? The third one. I think Black Swan, right? Yeah, it basically dot character. This is why I love dot, because they have two mommies, and right now the ad has said it. That's why I need her. I need her now.
Helpful. It is mandatory. Like an A+ in your exams if you're Asian. It is very mandatory. If Hysilens' job is to provide the oxygen in the form of all these different dot effects, then Mommy's job is to provide the circulation. Her unique ability is to detonate dots, right? So in simple terms, she forces all of those little damage over time effects to deal their damage immediately all at once. This solves the one major weakness the archetype always had, being too slow. Okay, we talk about that. Now, the phrase you will hear from every veteran player is probably true. You can run a dot team without Hysilens, but you absolutely cannot run one without Kafka. She is the non-negotiable cornerstone. And then you...
True. You know what makes Kafka is broken? Because Kafka, just like Lakio said, it's like all her follow-up tech. So I think right now they buff it, so follow-up attack now triggered on basic attack and also skill. Before it's only triggered on teammate basic attack, and it just like bring up the static dot. You see the dot right here. So if Kafka use her skill, those dots like all apply right now. You doesn't have to wait the boss to take a turn. That is why you need Kafka.
Have the third member of this trio, Black Swan, who essentially pours gasoline on this entire fire. She has her own special stacking dot called Arcana. The way it works is simple. It gets stronger the more an enemy takes damage from other dots. So Hysilens floods the field with dot effects, and Kafka's constant detonations count as multiple instances of dot damage. All of this feeds Black Swan's Arcana, ramping its power to levels that used to be considered basically impossible in normal gameplay. Now, it's not just possible, it is a routine. For the low price of $1,200, it could be your routine too. What you...
This is why you need so much premium dot. You cannot use, I think you can use sample dot skis, right? I think they release some dot characters like sample or good knifen, right? I think those are the 2 dots, as far as I remember right now. But you cannot use it to the maximum unless you have Black Swan. Just like Kafka, just like Lakio said.
Have here is more than a team of 3 individuals working together. It is a single 3-part engine. Hysilens applies the fuel, Kafka ignites it for a burst of power, and Black Swan uses that ignition to make her own damage grow exponentially. If you take away any of these 3 limited 5-star characters, the entire engine sputters and its efficiency collapses. And the 4th slot, in the early days of the game, you would fill this with a flexible and accessible 4-star support
Is that samples?
character. Well, in the big 2025, not anymore.
Oh.
The optimal final piece of this team is almost always another limited 5-star Harmony character like Robin or Runmei. Runmei you can get for free now, so that's pretty good. This creation of a power...
Okay, another hot take. Runmei is free, but there's some days Robin, Treby, who's that? The chess girl. Like Runmei is gonna get power creep soon, guys. it means like those three characters is trash to work right now. It's like slowly getting power creep by the new characters, by the new Hanami characters.
Powerful but expensive free pack.
But the unique straight up harmony characters are it's slowly getting power crap, in my opinion. Because like I'm still using Ruanmei.
Team doesn't happen in a vacuum. It plugs directly into that broader accelerating trend we mentioned at the start. Power creep is a normal thing in these kinds of games. New characters are released, and to make them appealing, they are often a little bit stronger than the old ones. It is a slow, gradual climb, but every so often, a character comes along who doesn't just raise the ceiling, they build an entirely new floor. In Honkai Star Rail, that character was Acheron. Her release marked a clear step up in power.
Acheron is the first one who started out. Acheron is the first one to start it out because like she deals so much damage that you have to pull for it, and everybody pull for her because she look cool. People doesn't pull her for like the big damage. I think some people pull for big damage, but mostly they pull for the characters. And when you see many people like clearing the memory of chaos easily, they're gonna raise up the damage ceiling. So the power creep issue, the HP issue is started from Acheron. But I think it's a huge miss on Honkai Star Rail. It was sad because like they have really really good characters. And like before, like people pulling for characters, they didn't pull for like power creep issue or like damage scaling or buffing your whole team. They mostly pull the character because they like them. But right now, they must pull the new characters in order to beat the new MOC, the new Apocalypse Shadow, the new Pure Fiction. So right now they have to pull, or not they gonna miss like some primo gens. And that is like what sucks about Honkai Star right now. You must pull. It's not like before, it's like an option. You can skip one patch or two patch for your favorite characters. Right now you have to pull for the new characters in order to make your team great again, or your account is not brick.
Introduce the damage output so high and an ability to ignore the game's core elemental weakness system so efficiently that you fundamentally change the benchmark of what a top tier damage.
Oh yeah, right now I think Honkai Star weakness is a joke right now. As you can see in Honkai Star before Acheron, they need like what is that? They need a specific element to break the enemy, right? And that's what make Silver Wolf. That what makes Silver Wolf great. It's not because of her design. It basically of her kit of her skill, making like give an extra element on that boss. But right now, after the release of Acheron, she just like, man, fuck all those element. I don't care. I can just shred out those HP and shit easily without consuming that, and that's just dumb. And right now we have like Firefly applying one. Who's that? The skate girl. Rappa is applying one. Right now, Silver Wolf got buff, apply one. And Nexa is a joke. And Nexa just like apply everything. So that's make like those weakness all a joke. Like literally a joke. Why would you have and like the boss doesn't have 3 anymore. You have to like bring anybody like, oh, you want to play this team? Pull an Nexa. He gonna make the shield. They make like apply weaknesses on the boss, on everything for your team to like break them, and that's a joke, like literally a joke. And I think who's that? Fei Xiao. I think Fei Xiao like ignore the enemy weakness. She just like shred all the boss easily without ignoring, and that is why I think that's a joke on the weakness break type of Honkai Star Rail.
damage dealer or DPS could be. She established a new, much higher baseline that all future characters would have to be balanced against. And the new Dot team, headlined by Hysilens, is clearly designed to compete on this new, elevated plateau. This is the first argument for how Hysilens escalates the power creep problem. The complete team is rated tier 0.
Like, look at this. You cannot tell me Honkai Star doesn't have a power creep issue. Look at that. Bro got power creep. This guy got power creep. Our Black Swan, our best mommy got power creep. And also our Kafka is like 0.5. And look, Topaz down. Blade buff does nothing. I forgot this guy name. Fei Xiao is down. Black Swan. Why did I say Black Swan? Who's that? Fly or Rappa is out of the equation. Nobody see Rappa anymore. Or Fireflies. Those weakness break are trash right now. We got Blade, we got Jinglu. Right now you have to like waste all your artifacts or whatever you just build and build a new one because right now she's scaling HP. And look at our Ruler May far down. I think those two are Bronya and Sparkle only buff up because they buff. I think they buff like Saber, Archer, and Final. I think that's why those guys are up. And as you can see, the only top one. Look at that. And Nexa, Archer, Castris, Hyacinth, Finon, Tribi, Premium Tribi, this cat girl, Sunday, Robin. Wait, I'm surprised what's the update? That's surprising to me. We got this fat fuck, the unicorn, and our adventuring just fell down. Like literally, this is power creep. If you see most of the characters, like most of your new characters are up here, and there's none of your like the last patch like the 2.0 or 1.0 is not up here, that means your game fucked up.
The highest possible team, establishing a new team power ceiling. When a team is that powerful, the developers inevitably have to make the endgame content harder to challenge it, which in turn makes that content much more difficult for older teams to clear.
Power
and then
creep,
there's the
HP
push
inflation.
for what we call vertical investment. That means spending more on a single character instead of getting new ones. Hysilens' first Eidolon, her first duplicate, is described as rather insane. It gives her a massive team-wide damage boost, and more importantly, it allows her to apply enough dots all by herself to max out her own ultimate damage. It is a huge power spike that creates a significant gap between a base Hysilens and one with just a single copy. But the dynamic here is much more complex than a simple story of a new character.
Wait, so based on what Galapio said, Hyacinth, E0, you need Kafka or Black Swan to fill up the four dots or the 4 energy, just like Galapio said. And if you pull another, like if you spend another $200 or $500, she can apply her 4 dot by herself. So she doesn't rely anymore. She just become a main DPS for a low price of $500, guys.
Replacing an old one, and this is where the conversation gets more interesting. Critically, Hysilens does not replace Kafka, she does the opposite. She makes,
of course, nobody replay Kafka. Kafka the GOAT. I love
Kafka more essential than ever. This single design choice preserves and even enhances the value of a player's previous investment in an older character. This is the arguments for how her release actually complicates or even alleviates the traditional model of power creep. What we are seeing is a shift, a move away from a replacement model where a new DPS comes out and makes your old one obsolete, towards a symbiotic model. Power is no longer just derived from a single standalone unit, it is derived from owning the complete interlocking set. You are not being sold a replacement for your old character, you are being sold an upgrade that requires your old character to function. So we see a shift in philosophy. It is less.
Well, I think, okay, I'm gonna be unbiased. So I think that is like half good, half bad. Okay, let's start with the bad side first. The bad side is basically you need her. It's like Black Swarm and Kafka is not enough. You need Hyacinth to be better. You need Hyacinth to make your team better with a low price of $500. And if you don't get it, your team's fucked because you need her. So you cannot clear you cannot clear the base of MOC with the old premium dot team because you need Hysilens to make Kafka better, and that's bad. Why not just buff dot instead of like creating a character to buff dot instead? You know what I mean? But as for the good part, I think it's like give like some synergy, like buffing old characters. You see, like buff old characters. Did I say like stupid or something? One I said bad and one I said good. Well, I don't know. I think buffing the old characters are good, but creating a whole new, like creating a character to solve that problem is just bad. Take an example like in Genshin Impact. In Genshin Impact, they create like the new robot girl, the new robot girl that like gave like Luna charge. It's like the better electro charge, but better. It's just like electric charge in Genshin is trash. So in order to use electric charge in your team, you need the robot girl to buff the damage. And I think that's bad. Why not just buff the whole element instead of like creating a whole new character? Yeah, I think you know what? I'm gonna take that back. That is bad. That is bad.
It's about replacing old units one for one and more about raising the price of admission for the entire archetype. And this new model has a tangible and often frustrating impact on the player experience. This is where all the design theory and meta-analysis
That's why Braxford literally said he quit. Bro quit Honka Star Rail.
meets reality, how these changes actually feel to the people playing the game. If you have been on social media lately, you might have noticed a rising tide of negativity, with video titles and posts asking why everyone seems to hate the game now. But if you look closer, you will find the frustration is rarely aimed at the game's story or the core gameplay. Instead, it is focused on the direction of its management. It is a feeling that the game
Well, a part of it also the story. Like the story is garbage. The storytelling is all garbage. I don't care if you said those stories are good. I don't care about the plot. If your storytelling is trash, I don't care. That thing is trash. You know what I mean? If like a book, for example, a book, those are like really good plot at the end, but the progress of going to what those good plot is trash and boring, I just throw the book away. I don't care. I don't care if I missed out the good plot at all. Literally, I could just like watch a summary. Honka Star, I could just watch a summary and getting misinformation by just like Genshin people said, getting Honka Star people said, getting misinformation by the content creator whose summary. I don't care. I'm not gonna spend like 8 hours of listening of that fast just because like for a 1 or 2 hour of information or the main part of the story, the main story. I'm not gonna sit there. And also the another part of it, mostly the core part of Honka Star downfall is the power creep issue. I think people quitting mostly after, I think the kicking start off first of people starting rage quitting or quitting Honka Star is at 3.0, because first of all is the story, then they release Casteris, which is have an extra life, then after that it's history. Everybody's power crap another. Your old characters are trash. You get like 6 character buff that doesn't like compete with the top tier, the new character at all. For 6 months, you need 6 months for 4 character buff. Come on, Honka Star, you gotta do better.
Is becoming more aggressive with its monetization, and that the time and money players have already invested is being respected less and less. This is felt most sharply by returning players. You see their stories all the time. A player logs back in after a few months off, excited to catch up, only to find that their once powerful, heavily invested teams now struggle.
My favorite dot team cannot clear MOC 12, by the way. Just a reminder.
to clear the new endgame content. The advice they get from the community, while well-intentioned,
Let's go. That's my goal.
is always the same. You just need to pull for the new characters.
That's my
and this
goal.
confirms their worst fear, that their previous investments has
Guys, this is not pre-watch. This is the robot girl that I've been talking about. This robot girl is literally buffing Lunar Electro Charge in Genshin Impact. Just like, okay, take this girl and it's like Hyacinth. This girl is literally Hyacinth, but in Genshin Impact. It's just like make your own team better. That's it. That is the whole point of creating this character, and also Hyacinth.
fired.
But Hyacinth is good looking. To be honest, this is trash. Who gonna play a robot girl that look like trash?
It creates a
Well, if you need buff though, if you need buff, your other team, you need her.
situation where coming back to the game feels less like a welcome return and more like a punishment for ever having taken a break. For the veterans, the ones who never left, the problem isn't being left behind, it is fatigue. It is the feeling of being on a treadmill. A new, more powerful team is released, the endgame content is scaled up with higher enemy health to challenge that new team, your older teams become less viable, so you feel the pressure to pull for the new team to keep up, and then the cycle repeats. The joy of collecting and building characters can get buried under the constant pressure to chase a meta that is always moving just out of reach. And this reveals the core contradiction in the game's current design. On one hand, the game is full of casual-friendly features. It has a robust auto battle system, a capped daily energy system that doesn't demand your constant attention. It is marketed as a game that respects your time, but the endgame is balanced for a completely different kind of player. It demands these hyper-optimized, expensive
True. Honkai Star, I think Honkai Star is the first one who's... Wait, is it Honkai Star or Wuthering Way who's starting like the cap, like increase the cap? Excuse me. It's like they increase the cap of the energy system so you don't have to play daily. And that is literally casual friendly. And also the auto also good. Because right now you don't have to play the game, just press the auto farm. Yeah, I think that's good. But okay, to summarize what he said, why Honkai Star is bad. It basically, for example, you take a week, not a week, like a 2 patch break. Okay, let's take example, you take a 2 patch break in Honkai Star, then you come back, clean the MOC with the same character that you used to clear 2 patch ago. You cannot. You literally cannot. Unless you have the 1% top builds, which nobody's get it. Only those 1%, only those hardcore to sweating, be like calculating, be like, oh, if I use the skill, if I use the ultimate, those gonna buff. Nobody's gonna do that. You're a casual player. You just spam E, you just spam Q, and everybody do a big explosion damage. Those are casual players. Casual player is not the one who's like searching up guides, search up how to make Hyacinth do the top 1% damage. Nobody gonna do that. Like literally, nobody gonna do that. And I think like most casual players, they don't care about like the guides or anything. They just pull the character to get good lookings, like literally. So I'm back on what I said. Veteran player hate this because who miss out using Acro? Who miss out using Firefly? Who miss out using Rapper? Think about your own characters who can clear MOC like MOC Pure Fiction or Apocalypse Shadow like a while ago. Right now you cannot clear it because you need those new characters like who can replace them or like buff them, just like Hyacinth buffing Dottie. That is bad. It's like it doesn't respect people's time. People time like spend building like Dot Team, for example. I play Dot Team, spending time perfecting Dot, Kafka Team, and Black Swarm, just you cannot clear them on MC unless you pull for the new characters. There's like a fuck you in the face, like a middle finger in the face, said, haha, you cannot use your team even though you spend so much time building on it. Because you need this brand new characters to make your team better again. And I think that is why that is bad. Okay, let's go.
Prepackaged themes that we have been talking about. It creates this jarring disconnect where the game's accessible, relaxed surface.
Oh yeah, right now they creating a new game mode. Literally, if you get a full stars of MMC, Pure Fiction, Apocalypse Shadow, then you can play the new game mode. If not, fuck you. You cannot play them. And guess what? You need 3 teams. And you know what those 3 teams gonna be? Those are not gonna be your old characters, your old team at all. Those gonna be the new premium team. Just like Finon, Saber, Archer. Who's next? And Nexa, the new premium dot team. If you don't have that, you cannot play our exclusive pay to win, gatekeeping, whatever game challenge end game it is. Haha, every player, you have to spend, guys. Okay, where's my crosshair?
Eventually smashes into a hardcore meta-defined wall. And that initial promise of play with your favorites or waifu over meta starts to feel very, very conditional. So where does this
I'ma say this, waifus over meta. But if in Honka style, meta over waifus.
leave us? When we look at Hysilens and what she represents, it leaves us with a paradox. Because on one hand, Hysilens is without a doubt a triumph of character design. She is mechanically interesting, she is powerful, and she is a direct and positive answer to a request the community had been making for a very long time. In a vacuum, she is a massive success.
Everybody wants that to grade again.
Vehicle for this new, more demanding paradigm. The developers delivered the solution to a problem of a stale dot meta, but that solution came packaged with a new requirement: the need to buy an entire expensive ecosystem of other
$500
to make it work at its highest level. And I think that is the real takeaway here. The nature of the problem has evolved. It is no longer just about a new character being stronger than the old one. It is about the power of a complete prepackaged team and the rising cost of entry to stay relevant at the game's highest level. Hysilens saved the dot archetype, but in doing so, she cemented a new, more demanding reality for the players who love it. This move towards symbiotic prepackaged teams keeps older keystone characters like Kafka relevant for longer, but it also raises the overall investment costs for a top-tier team. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Is this model healthier for the game's long-term future than simply replacing old characters? Let me know in the comments down below, but that is all from me, Glaive Kyo, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers!
Another big W on Glaive Kyo video again. I think wait, let me give a like first. Boom. So don't forget to check on Glaive Kyo and like him up and subscribe to him too. Okay, that the final of Glaive Kyo content, Glaive Kyo videos. What you guys think is comment down below. Well, before ending of the video, let me give you my last take of Honka Star. I think Honka Star need to stop buffing old characters back, but I think creating a new characters, buffing your old team, that is not the solution. Okay, I think the solution to me as a casual players, I think the solution is either buffing the damage type itself. Like if I play dot, you should buff dot damage. If I play break, I should buff break damage. Or if I buff like HP scalers, I should buff HP scaling damage instead of creating a characters like Hyacinth, 3B. Who's next? Who buff break? Wait, we don't talk about break. Break is trash. Yeah, those like creating a new characters is good for the developer, and it's not good for the free-to-play player, because free-to-play player cannot catch up like every single new characters in the game. They just can't. They have money. They have bills to pay. They don't pay money just to clear 3 stars and at MOC or play the new Honka Star endgame. They don't want to do that, and it's also disrespecting. Just imagine Kafka. Just imagine like someone in 4.0 is better than Kafka, guys. If Kafka get power creep, I stop playing the game. I don't care. Kafka is my favorite team. Who's gonna stop me? I'm playing. Like, just imagine like all your time on spending those artifacts and skills and perfecting those gameplay just be like, yeah, you're getting these places. Come on, bring up the new guy. The new guy do like 10 times better, 100 times better with only like a low cost of $500 and also less skill, take less skills compared to your old team. Yeah, that's them. Anyways, Hankasa need to wake up, stop baiting, like stop replacing old characters. I think. Another solution on buffing the old characters is, I think, creating an artifact, of buffing the old characters. Just like in I think in Woodling Way, I think they did it right with G. They did with who's that wind guy? Jian. I think they did it with Jian, right? They released a new artifact for Jian, so Jian can keep up with the meta. I think that's also a good idea, but it also like disrespect. I think Genshin did it. Yeah, they need to stop fucked up the end game, and yeah, I think that's all for me. I hope you guys enjoy my takes. Comment down below your takes on Honka style, and well, we've been like 1 hour, almost 1 hour 40 minutes. That's crazy. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy. I will see you next one. Bye bye.